This is an open letter for Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. Your website has suspended me for 30 days. Apparently, this was my fourth disappointing remark, and that you could tolerate. And because it was the fourth disappointment, my speech is being blocked for 30 days because it has been my fourth infringement. I thought the censorship business was a Chinese thing. I thought only in China they censor. I mean, it's sort of like, oh, your first infringement, you're cut off for 3 hours, and second infringement, you're cut out for 2 days, and the third infringement for a week, and the fourth infringement, you're timed out for 30 days, but the 10th infringement, you basically, okay, we'll let you know. I think by the 10th infringement, you're going to say that, yeah, you don't need to come to us, we come to you. It's sort of like you don't want to associate yourself with us anymore. Well, first of all, that's very Chinese of you. Those who think that on this side there is no censorship, of course there is. Because I have printed out, so I have first hand to read you my infringements from the first one until the recent one, and you will notice that what I have written has happened to be just the fact, what is in the news or has been in the history, we know in history. So I don't think you can qualify, historical facts as hate speech. You can't qualify. It's sort of like, if I have to, I don't have to answer. I can go Wikipedia something, cut and paste the Wikipedia of a factual matter, and I wouldn't be saying anything. I would be just, referencing a Wikipedia page. So my answers to clips that I've seen were basically answers that, sort of like, historically this has been, or currently this is in the news. This is in the news, you notice? So if I am divulging what is fact right now or what has been in the history, that wouldn't qualify as hate speech. But somehow you have equivocated the two. Sort of like anybody who says a fact, is anybody who says a fact, that fact, if it's if it's happened to be factual, it's okay, it doesn't matter. But if it's has an influences some people in a way that you don't approve of, yeah, that would be considered sort of like, whatever we approve of, whatever we don't approve of, thou shalt not speak of it. So that's how, history cannot be changed. That's a problem. Facts are facts. It's on the ground. You can't say that, okay, you cannot bring up a historical fact just because we feel that mentioning it may have adverse effects against us. Then sort of like whoever has the biggest penis would be the one determining what right is and what wrong is. As simple as that. Do we want to go Death Star kind of way, a sort of like, order? Here's the thing. For example, the oldest one, my first infringement. It was regarding a satellite that it was clearly paid for by Arab state, one of these Arab states of that Persian Gulf area. One of those Arab states had, paid for some project that was taking place in somewhere in, the pink skin land. And I said, here's my comment was, the Arabs wrote the check, the American university built and sent it. Even the ignorant Arabs can read and write their name on a check. This is factual. It's in the news. It's sort of like the Arab, that mini state over there paid for a project that ended up in space, but the project was carried out, in northern hemisphere. Let's put it this way, not near the equator, northern hemisphere. So I brought this up and I said, yeah, this is it. This is, Arabs. They wrote the check, which was factual. And this was considered as hate speech. What part of this is hate? Is this taking place in any of the Arab nations, with their own scientists, with their own instruments, with their own know-how? If it is, let's call it an Arab contribution. If it's not, let's call it you have taken money from one area of this planet that can be put to good use for the people of that area, of that same location. You have taken that money and put it in an area in another location on this planet and done something wonderful. Yeah, great. The satellite is great. Something wonderful has happened. But could we, first feed the people of this planet? It's not. Let's feed the people. And what is coming out of those areas has not what comes out of those areas, those geographies on the planet, should be enough to feed themselves. It's not a good idea to squeeze anywhere really hard, because it's just more misery. More misery is bad. So apparently I stated a hate speech by saying Arabs, maybe should Arabs, try to distribute better between themselves, so a lot of them don't have to live in poverty. A lot of them are living in poverty in that geography. I'm not even talking about nations at this point. In that geography, a lot of people are going hungry. A few are very rich, and those few who are rich invest their money outside of that area, geography. That wealth created over there is not invested over there. That wealth created over there has been invested with BlackRock. So don't know what to say. The idea was that Arabs should be, investing some of that money, so maybe they can send actually their own spaceship up. No, they won't get there, but at least, feed their people, clothe their people of the region, people of the geography. They're all fucking neighbors, aren't they? It's a fucking piece of geography on this fucking earth planet you call Earth. So it was the idea of, hey, why don't you take care of what is emergency with your people and hunger and all of that. Thank you very much. That was the first infringement. The second infringement was this in the British Defense Journal page, they're literally advertising, British weapons, and you're like, I said something like, the effing British are at it again, killing brown and black people. Well, I could have said this in 2022. I could have said this in 1992. I could have said this in 1972. I could have said this in 1962. I could have said this in 1932, 1922, 18 any of these timelines. I could have said this, and it's basically true. Factually, European pinkskins have been in Africa, all over Africa, all over Asia, all over the Americas, and started colonies of their own. Europeans, who are basically pink-skinned, have moved around the world, started colonies. Sometimes some of these colonies were successful in eliminating all the natives, like North America. They've done a great job of it, but South America has got a few are left standing. Then Australia just decimated the local natives and some of their species as well. It's like, Australia, many species who were, native to Australia went extinct quite fast. As soon as the Europeans arrived, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them just vanished. They were hunted to elimination. So I could be saying that in any past 5 centuries, 500 years, any time during the past 500 years, I could have been saying that here we go, the British are killing brown and black folks. I could have been saying any time during the past 500 years, and I would have been right. The British the British, the Spanish, the French just went overboard, and let's go get some ass. That's just historical fact. It's not even up for discussion. It has happened so often, so many times, and so often. Whole of Africa was divided in the 1800s. Whole of Africa was divided between Europeans that already had their name on it. Sort of like this Congo is Belgium. That's British. That's British Zambia. That is the only German colony in Africa. And they just divided it up. between themselves, sort of like this belonged to these motherfucker locals. Yes, they were happy in their huts. They didn't invite anybody over. You know, if they were in a more primitive fashion. Maybe not during all of their history. History has ups and downs. Maybe in Africa they had a more progressive civilization or not. Eventually, they died out. And what was in Africa was, industrially much behind Europe, and because of that, the shit that happened during the just couple of 100 years of colonialism, just before us. It's all in the history books. So I could have said this any time within that 500-year interval, and I would have been right, frankly. So I'm not sure why would that be an infringement. I'm just stating a historical fact. The British are killing black and brown folks again. And now they go out under different names. And sometimes we are there to spread our religion, which a lot of it was done under the banner of religion. European colonialism, a lot of it was done under the banner of religion. We're there to spread Christianity. Come here, I got a religion for you, my brother. But give me your gold. I got a religion. You give me your gold, and before I kill you, become a Christian before I kill you. If you don't, I'm gonna kill you. So basically, on the banner of we are for the good, we are there to spread Christianity, they took colonialism to Africa and Asia and South America and North America under the banner of religion. Now it's under the banner of, we are there to bring them a new form of government. We are there to bring them a new form of government. In Afghanistan, where, they piss on each other's walls, you piss on the guy's wall that you don't like, and that's considered common practice. The whole city is under piss. You're telling me that in that kind of environment, you're going to bring democracy? And you're going to be successful at it? So, no, sometimes under the banner of religion, sometimes under the banner of better form of government. We are here to spread a better form of government, that is democracy. It's another form of government, but for many countries it just doesn't work. So there is no reason for the British to come up with a new every time they want to get the gang together. The British are always the kingpin. They want to get the gang together to go, kill some natives. The British put the gang together. Because Australia is a British colony, and the boys are back together. Sort of like, that's clear. First Brexit, we're gonna pull out, then we're gonna build 2 aircraft carriers, and the British are back in business with Crazy Harry at the wheel. It's the British of World War II all over again. The British are unhappy, so we have to go to a war. Everybody has to get involved into a war. Because the British are unhappy. They pull out of European Union and build 2 aircraft carriers, and now they're walking heavy. It's sort of like, yeah, we got the gang back together. Now we got to go kill some brown, black, or yellow, or whatever, whoever of these motherfucking natives of that, land. That's just historical facts, current facts. Isn't it? It's like, why would you allow yourself to enter into another piece of land on another part of the planet? Because what? You're there to bring peace? Let me put it this way, folks. If a husband and a wife have a problem in the house, you think, if they had round the clock, security man up their ass standing in their hallway, you think that brings more peace? You see, if you consider the members of a family as members of the tribes that are living over there, in that geography, there's some tribes are living. An outsider taking sides does not bring more peace to the neighborhood, it brings less peace. Outsiders taking sides brings less peace. If members of a household have to figure things out for themselves, that's less of a problem than that would be less of a problem than if an outsider exerts some kind of force or makes some kind of promises. It's sort of like this is the issue. Outsiders are, never good news for the neighborhood, because outsiders, it's sort of like if you're living in a neighborhood and you notice that one of your neighbors are friends with the Mr. Policeman. If you know that one of the neighbors are very close friends of a policeman or a policeman themselves, you would think that, okay, different people carry different weights. So if one of the neighbors is friends with a policeman, he carries more weight. It's as simple as that. And when Uncle Sam, pledges some agreements with certain, geographies, certain tribes, to agitate, to escalate, whatever it is the British have apparently planned a new war for us. This is my belief. And that's because this is how it's working out. They pulled out of the European Union. Why? To break it up? What? You suddenly realize that you have something unique inside you that is so British that cannot be mixed with the mainlander. Are you fucking kidding me? In 2022, really? all this unity and United Nations and European Union and let's shake hands and drink champagne. All it was a charade. It was such a thin charade that couple of beer buddies were able to break up with a couple of months of advertisement. Are you fucking kidding me? How stupid are the British? The British public. I mean, they still have the monarchy. How stupid is that? Yes, Your Excellency, Your Highness. Why? Because you were born in that family? I was born in a different family. What do you want me to do? You do understand that, 99% of the problem is, is what you learn, what you understand, how much you understand, what you learn. So if you're not of the learned, which none of you are in the British royal family, barely there, none of you are philosophers, you got a horny boy and a retarded boy. So that tells me that it's a, not a very good example of who you shall be holding in high regards. And it was clear from way back when. But to hold oneself up and say, follow us, we are the example of what you should want to be. What? Bowing to royalty? Because your great grandfather had a big penis? Or, was frustrated enough, was so appalled by the condition of his being that he rose up and, convinced a couple of other motherfuckers to rise up with him and overthrow the last king and become, the next king. That's the recent history of the British and the rest of Europe. That's how all of these monarchies. You overthrow one monarchy, comes overthrow the last monarchy. You got a new monarch with a new last name. The last one has, lasted until now, but none of these guys who are remaining are of any value to society, really. They're not great thinkers, they're not great philosophers. The philosopher is in, Tucson, turning into a fossil, and playboys and good old boys are running the show. What do you want? Then what do you expect to have as a result? The result is, every other year, every other decade, every other century, a bunch of brown and black. let's go blow some brown and black up. Did it make anybody in the neighborhood safer? Did it make any of the neighborhoods safer? The presence of the British troop on the grounds in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in the recent visit, did it make anybody any safer? A lot of locals died. A lot. We're talking millions in Iraq. Died in this process of overthrowing one fucking tribesman and bringing in another fucking tribesman. You want order. And if you want change, you want order. If you want change, you send in tourists. You want change, you send in tourists, not soldiers. You want to bring democracy? You have a message of democracy? You bring them in with fucking tourists. You subsidize your tourists to go over there, live over there, spread the message of democracy and freedom as tourists. All this, you don't need all this money to spend all this money in weapons to blow up brown and black people. Red, there are no red, all the red are gone. The 110 million red people, they're gone. All the aborigines in Australia, they're gone. They don't even let red people immigrate to the northern geographies of the same planet. That they are not letting the redskins of the central areas, due to lack of income and lack of resources and lack of ways to feed oneself. They don't find much over there, so they're heading north into on their own land. They're mostly Indian blood. They're coming on their own land. They're coming north to, reconquer some of the land they lost to the white man, to the pigskins. And they're calling them illegal immigrants. The natives who were here, whose bloodlines were here on this land before the Pinkskins, the natives, after losing much of their lands, now they want to at least come back and work for the Pinkskin in a very lonely jobs. But still, jobs that so they can eat, and the Pinkskins are calling them illegal immigrants. Why? Are you kidding me? You're Europeans. If you're a pigskin, it's clear you're not native to Arizona. It's sort of like, are you fucking with me? a pigskin sitting in Arizona and calling a redskin who just is trying to move north to feed himself, calling him illegal immigrant. You're illegally immigrating to my land. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I said the fucking British at it again, killing brown and black skins on Earth. Has been 500 years of history. We don't have to kill them. If the idea is to spreading your religion, send tourists. The idea is to spread your form of government, send tourists. None of it requires soldiers and forceful takeovers. You want better understanding? Send tourists. You want to spread your religion? Send tourists. You want to, trade? Send tourists. And this last infringement was, I said, that is unfortunate. This is the infringement that is the last one, and apparently this one, because of I have been suspended for 30 days from Facebook. They said that my answer was that is unfortunate as Indians have no principles. The topic was that is unfortunate as Indians have no principles. The topic was simple. The topic was, somebody was saying that, oh, we have so many top level CEOs at the helm of so many, technology companies, Google, and recently Twitter, and we have so many of these CEOs of Indian origin on at the highest level, at the top of all these technology companies. My answer was that is unfortunate as Indians have no principles. Indians do not have principles. I lived with Indians for 3 years in India. I lived in India with Indians for 3 years. Indians have no principles. They just don't. And they have no principles because from the way they are so comfortable with poverty in India. They're comfortable with poverty. When I say they're comfortable, what I mean is some of them are really rich. I mean, we're talking about 7-day wedding rich. 7-day wedding rich means you're the kind of person who can feed a large number of people for 7 days, house them, and attend to them, and you're friends with the kind of people who have 7 days to take off and just vanish. So the point is this, that but people just die in the streets of hunger, just on top of each other, and it doesn't bother the rich ones. It does not bother the rich ones. They just walk past it in a very respectful manner, but just make sure it doesn't touch them, even if they get out of their car. So, and they're comfortable with it. It's sort of like I saw now I and that how bad of it this not having principles is that it just makes you comfortable with shit. Not having principle makes you comfortable with shit, with seeing shit and not bothering you. Someone with principle, says no, I don't want to see shit, so I go dig a hole and always shit in that hole because I don't want to see shit all around me. That's the whole idea behind picking up after your dog. Because you don't want to see shit around. You want to pick up after your dog because I don't want to see shit around. So that was the idea behind it. So my point is this, that Indians have no principles because they still do. In 2022, they still do not have sufficient public toilets. They don't have a sufficient sewer system. It's 2022. And these guys have been, colonized by the British for 100 years. They have 16 indigenous languages so they all decide to adapt English, and none of them can speak it. I, I, it's not very important. Here's the thing about principles. Those who don't have it, it's not very important to them. Only those who have it is important to them. You see, Germans have principles. Russians have principles. Indians don't have principles. In 2022, they still run down the street and kill each other. In the streets, in the broad daylight. Animals don't have principles. I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry, but if one of the recent massacres that happens in India, one of the most recent one, was like maybe 10, 20 years ago. It was very recent. It was sort of like made the news and everybody felt uncomfortable. The idea of, let's run through the society and start killing those who we know who are of the other faith. Oh shit! Are you serious? No. Are you serious? Are you serious? It's sort of like, let's run down the street and start killing those who we know who are not of us. Who the fuck is this us? You eat the same shitty food. you piss on the same shitty wall. Who's us and who's them? They still haven't figured it out. They haven't figured this out. So the Indians who haven't figured this out, who they are, what they are, no principles. Now the problem, how is it connected to these CEOs, is that people without principles, again, no offense, my Indian friends, I've seen it. You guys, you stab each other in the back is your pastime. Some of us in this world, if you have to stab somebody in the back, we have to think about it. You don't think about it; you just do it. It's a common trait that I've seen within Pakistanis, Indians, that I've come across. Easy. I mean, when the Russian tells you something, if he wants to stab you, he stabs you in the front. You see what I'm saying? But and most people, if they have a problem, it's like they talk it out or find out what's the problem, fix the issue. Indians just stab you in the back. They assume there is a problem. They assume you don't like them, and they definitely don't like you. So it's because of population, overpopulation, overpopulated and under-resourced, and everybody shedding everywhere, and nobody wants to work. So it's not a stereotype. It is what it is. Dude, it is what it is. It's like, go see. I want especially Mr. Elon Musk to go and see Bangladesh, with a backpack, spend a week in Bangladesh, walk around Bangladesh with a backpack, see the shit up close and personal, and then go ahead and say, yes, we need to reproduce more. Oh fuck, man. They're living like rats. So the point is this: yes, Indians have no principles. I've seen it up close and personal. They have no issue. Morality is in for an Indian. Morality is very flexible. There's a God of good and there's a God of evil, and you go pray to your God, and I go pray to my God, and evil is accepted in an Indian culture. Evil is accepted. Accepted as if sort of like sometimes you know you fight for evil, sometimes you fight with evil, whichever one pays better. And having the executive power in the hands of India, people of Indian origin, who whoever pays better, if it's then there wouldn't even questions rise. No questions would rise. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because at least in these positions, if they're pink skins who are also paranoid and aggressive themselves, this is the difference between an Indian and a pink skin, a brown skin Indian and a pink skin is mostly aggressiveness, and the Indian fellow is willing to put up with a lot of shit, and not rise up and kill the king. Pink skin don't put with they put up only with little shit, and then they rise up and kill the king. So this is the difference: paranoia and aggressiveness. A bad king would last a few days in Norway. A bad king would last a lifetime, many lifetimes, in a place like India. Because they put up with shit. They put up with shit. There is no road, okay. There is no rail, okay. There is no sewer system, no problem. Cows in the street, yes, that's our way. You don't call that principle. Cows in the motorway. Can you imagine Germans allowing such thing to continue? Forget about their fucking religious part of it, because it's bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. But at least these motherfuckers came up with a religion that was a little more orderly. I'm sure they've had their deities too. I'm sure the Norwegians had their gods too. They could have their gods had pets too, and they could have come up with their own cow god and bull god and monkey god. They could have come up with some kind of their own. But can you imagine in their psyche, in who they are, they would allow that, yes, let's have one of those animals associated with such and such a god. Let them roam free on the expressways. Seriously. But up to recently, Indians are many places are still, it's okay. You've got cows running in between human beings on the streets. Oh, this is part of our religion. We don't need order. We need religion. More religion. We don't need principles. We don't need to work. We don't need principles. We abuse each other. We use each other. We abuse each other. And the richest person that was on the news, the richest person in Mumbai had Mumbai or Delhi or whatever, whoever it was, the richest person in India had built himself a multi-story palace in the middle of the city. Frankly, it looked very ugly, and it didn't look like it's out of place. It looked. Now I understand what it was. That to me it's so ridiculous. Every floor and a half had its own motif. Every floor and a half had its own motif, its own design. One was going this way and the other one was going that way. And now I understand that whoever sold that shit is a genius. Whoever sold him that design is a genius. Now I understand what that is and why I didn't like it. It's a shanty town. It's a shanty house put together. What is shanty house made of? Some of it goes like this because the person found a few pieces of concrete over here, and then a piece of it shapes like that, and then because the guy found a few pieces of plastic and some, some foam somewhere goes like this, and it's a put together house from whatever the fuck the homeless guy was able to collect around. And this is the idea of behind that house, that multi-million-dollar house in the middle of Mumbai, and it was on the news. And this guy, it was a shanty house. It was, every floor had its own motif. It's like the guys, putting jigsaw together to build his shanty, but this shanty cost like $50 million. The design was how you put together a shanty house. Different floors, different motifs, because that's all you could get your hands on. And this is why I didn't like it. This is so bad without principle. It's so bad that at the end of the day, the art is imitating life. Art is imitating life. A multi-million-dollar shanty-looking house arisen from all the shanties on the floor. All those shanties are a few feet tall, and this shanty is many feet tall. People, that's what I'm saying. It's not. Yes, many savants, great for you, but the moral part, Hindu, the kind of amorality that the Hinduism offers, and followers take to heart, that amorality of poverty is okay. Shit is okay, putting up with shit is okay, poverty is okay, rape is okay, being subjugated by the fucking British is okay. For 100 years, a nation, a group of people in an area were so unimpressed about the whole idea of colonialism and who's in charge and who's performing, and who. Indians apparently weren't much interested in governance, and that's what the British brought over, governance. Well, governance, principles, you need principles to have some kind of governance. There were like 50 Rajasthans, 500 Rajasthans or so all over that area. Everybody doing their thing. So such people, I'm sorry to say, and I've seen you up close and personal for 3 years. One thing I couldn't detect was principles. I couldn't detect principles. Yeah, a lot of fear and greed and fear and greed, but very little principles. So no, I'm not. I don't think it's a good idea. You have to have aggressive pink skins at the helm of these institutions to stand up to, you know, to government agencies. At least put up a fight. No, eventually the government agency is going to win, but at least somebody who raised the alarm and says, "Hey, this is happening." they they told me they rape me if I don't agree. A white guy would stand up and say, "Hey, they're threatening to rape me if I don't agree to surveillance of mass surveillance." The white guy would at least scream for you. The Indian will go and suck their balls too. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. Before getting raped, the white guy puts up a fight, but the Indian guy agrees, just as long as you take it easy. so, so this is how they are. If they see somebody of overwhelming power, they comply. Indians, when they are in a position of overwhelming power, they comply, they fold without raising the alarm. And that's not a good thing to have as the CEOs of technologies that are very interesting to authorities. CEOs of technologies that are very interesting to authorities. So if you're a CEO of a company that is interested by the authorities, then you should be of the kind that stands up, not the kind that complies. So so as a group, as a universe, as a planet, we could sit down and talk about what is the alarm about, and if we shall or shall not. Because we all have to, you all have to live. I'm dead already. You all have to live on this planet. You all have to live on this planet. Hopefully in an agreeable format. So the more of you die, the more Elon Musk is going to be upset, because he needs numbers. So yeah, you need somebody with balls, somebody with real balls, aggressive and paranoid with real balls at the head of these companies, so they would draw some boundaries between themselves, between Google. Should be some boundaries between Google and the FBI. It should be some boundary between Google and the CIA. It should be some kind of boundaries, and those kind of boundaries will not go up, will not even be erected if an Indian is in charge, because when they see a big penis, they reach for the Vaseline.